Good afternoon, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Hunter Anderson. I'm a senior RA in Pritchard Hall, and today I'll be answering how I can know and be known to my residents, and by extension my community. So I take the approach of kind of opening myself up and talking to my residents, making them feel comfortable, and allowing myself to be vulnerable so then they can open up to me later on. A big way that I do this is I invite them to a lot of events that I enjoy. And so in the fall semester that may be soccer, volleyball, debate nights, game nights, things like that. And then in the winter it can be basketball games and similarly a lot of the other events I've already mentioned. So I'll go into the lounges pretty frequently. I'll sit there and discuss random things with them, what's affecting them that day, what may be affecting them that week, maybe a big project coming up. But mainly I try to ground the interest in things that I can help them with or that they could help me with so we can mutually benefit from discussing and having open conversation. And oftentimes this year in particular it tends to trend around the academics because I live in the living learning community of VIA and they're focused on finding their majors and figuring out what career interests they have. So this year it does tend to be a little more academic. But to kind of get into 3 ways that I really am able to connect with my residents and they can see my personality, I can learn their personality, what their quirks are. And one way I do that is through sports and athletics. So if you know me, I'm a huge sports fan. So every year I set up a fantasy football in the fall, and I can generally get about half of my residents who do enjoy sports to join into that. And in the spring semester I do March Madness. So what we'll do is we'll set up a league, we'll talk a little smack, it'll all be friendly, but we're all competing for bragging rights and generally we'll get a little prize for the winner. It's a lot of fun. You get to learn a lot of people's who really enjoy sports, who are just playing to be in the community. And that's nice to see because sometimes those people who are just playing because they want to hang out end up beating all of us and it's really funny. I also do a lot of board game nights. I'm a huge board gamer. I'm a huge advocate for tabletop games. And so a lot of my residents who may not be inclined to do the more athletic things can play board games with us. And so I host board games pretty frequently on the weekends. I play them with a lot of resident advisors, but I also want my residents to come and play. So when they play board games, I feel like it's a really good way of how you approach challenges and complications, so how you can either win the game or work together to win the game. And when I go play board games with my residents, I get to learn a lot about how they think and how they operate, and it's pretty cool because they also get to see how I think and operate. So sometimes they'll be a little sneaky, but generally it's all in good fun. We also, Pritchard staff does volleyball every week with the Residence Life Resource Officers, the ROLOs. And this year I've really taken the task of bringing my residents because I really like showing my residents a game that I find really fun. For those who don't know, volleyball is indoor volleyball. It's very fast paced, very cool. Come check it out on Fridays at 4 o'clock. But my residents have started to come this year. It's been really awesome. I've actually been able to get the female residents of the living learning community to come too. So it's been awesome because I've been able to get to meet not only my residents and get to know them, but residents that aren't directly on my hall as well. And then another thing that I get to learn to meet my residents is, for those who don't know, my undergraduate degree was in political science. So I'm huge on political advocacy and political awareness, especially in the youth today, because not that many people are into politics when they're in their early 19, 20-year-old stage in life. So what I do is this year we have the Democrat debates, and I just explain to them, regardless of what party you're interested in supporting, regardless of what your beliefs are, it's really important to just listen and understand what topics are being discussed today and what that can mean for you and for others, and what ways we can work to explain these topics, because there's so many things in politics. It's so complicated, and if I have the opportunity to have a little bit of knowledge on that, I can help them work through those things. And so we'll sit down, watch a debate, watch the State of the Union, and then afterwards I can sit there and talk them through of what does this actually mean, does it mean anything, what was true, what were half-truths, and we can go through that and have a mature and semi-educated discussion on what our political climate looks like in the United States. Obviously, I also sit there and I do our experienced VT chats, and I get to know them on a deeper level. But generally, most of the time, how I know my residents and how I can be known is through activity, through discussion, and most of all, through a mutual respect and care for our community.